Gotta get my hair done so I look good for the video. Or at least try to. We'll see.
What's up, YouTube fam? We are out here for week 4 of the restricted disc golf series, and what we're going to be doing tonight is we are going to be going through and talking about what we learned, what we experienced, and just overall lessons from playing the same course 3 different times, but 1 round using only putters, 1 round only mid-ranges, and 1 round only drivers. You know this because you're obviously on par 4, so why am I even here? But anyway, all you smart people out there, you connected the dots, and so what I wanted to do is just take a moment to learn and reflect on what it meant to go through each of those experiences, what it meant to go through each of those rounds, and see if there are any lessons that we can kind of apply to future rounds of disc golf. So with that in mind, let's jump in and do some learning and see some throwing. The first thing that caught my attention is the fact that I actually shot the same score every round, which means our first point is that just because you shoot a good score or have a good score doesn't mean you played a good round. You see, on my putter and mid-range rounds, I felt like I was playing pretty well, having upshots like this, and really trying to execute, well, all except for the last few holes of the putter round. I was taking lines that were safe. But when I think about the driver round, although I did have a good score, or at least felt like I had a good score at the end, there were several moments that I don't think were super repeatable later on. I made a super clutch putt on hole 3, and I don't know that I make that every time, especially when I'm not putting with putters. I had a park job on hole 8, and once again, I just don't know that that's going to be repeated every single time I play. So my big takeaway is don't pay attention to the score. Think about how the round itself went. Maybe you got really lucky and had some love from Treesus, or maybe you really did execute all day long. I would trade my putter and mid-range rounds for my driver round any day of the week. Those felt so good, and so that's what I want to see when I'm playing a round. You probably could have guessed point number 2, but that is don't try to overextend the disc. It's why my putter round fell to shambles. If you look here on my drive on hole 1, I had that concept in mind, and so I'm not really trying to crush this putter super far. I'm just thinking to myself, throw it out there, be happy with the distance you get, and it's going to be fantastic. Notice when I throw my driver, it's not even that I'm trying to hit this super hard, I'm just pushing it to the requirements of the disc, we'll say. I want to throw a driver like a driver. I want to throw a putter like a putter. I'm not picking up putters and saying, oh yeah, I'm about to saw off all of this fairway. Like on hole 5 right here. I'm throwing this putter just trying to make it down the fairway. If I was really trying to yeet this thing, then I probably would have pushed it even harder and wouldn't have gotten that tree love. I would have fell right into those trees. And the greatest example of me trying to overextend the disc is here on hole 8. Had a great round going at this point. I was 3 under par, and I thought, you know what? You deserve this bird, Robbie. You go get this. And I overextended the disc. This causes me to miss my line majorly. I want you to notice how far off I throw this disc because I was so focused on power and not just throwing my disc correctly. Yeah, man, that is really bad. To highlight this, I want to show this compared to my park job on my driver round. Notice that I'm standing up smooth on the driver round, but I was falling backwards on the putter round. Here, we'll do it in slow motion, and I want you to notice 2 things. Notice A, where I fall after, but B, how much more jerky it looks in the putter round. It goes way off the line, and it's because I decided that I was throwing a putter like a driver instead of just letting it be or switching discs. When you have the opportunity or you don't feel like you're going to throw a disc well, make sure you just change discs. That's all you need to do. Because if you don't change discs, you're going to find yourself in the situation like I was on hole 8 over and over and over again. Yeah, Bummer, dude. We all knew we would end up here, hole 6. It's my least favorite hole on the course, and man, did it teach me some lessons. The biggest lesson that I learned in our third point of the day is that whatever you decide to throw, make sure you actually throw it. You see, on my putter round, I wasn't thinking to myself, oh, I might leave this short, so I sent it. I threw it like a full power putter needs to be thrown. And what happens? I make it all the way to the island. In fact, if I hadn't hit that tree, I probably would have been even further into the island. But on my mid-range shot, I'm telling myself, I don't know if I'm going to make this shot or not. In fact, the disc that I've already selected is a disc that I'm like, if I lose this wouldn't be bad, but I would like to keep this disc. And all of those are negative thoughts. If you're having those negative thoughts, change discs. Throw a different disc. Throw a different line. Because I don't fully commit to this, I throw it soft. I don't throw it like a full range putter or a full range mid. And what happens? I'm short of the island. Bang. Headed to the drop zone because I didn't throw it well. But I actually threw a second shot on the mid-range round, which was my Tursus, and I really didn't mind losing this because I kind of hated this disc at that moment. And notice, I throw it full power, and I do turn it over, but I was pin high. If you're going to throw it, make sure you throw the disc like it needs to be thrown. I give this driver everything that it needs to get to the island, and I hit the island. The distance was right, but it's a driver, which brings us to our fourth point. Never underestimate the power of your putters. Never underestimate the power of a touch shot. You see, hole 2 here gave me so much trouble in my other rounds because I didn't give the touch. But this shot right here, right up the middle, it's perfect for throwing putters. If you can learn to throw putters really well, you're going to carve up tight and wooded fairways, no problem whatsoever. You see, most of the time we get into the woods and we just feel like we have to throw drivers off the tee. And when you do that and you're in the woods, you are inviting so many bogeys onto your cart. Like you're literally sending them a meal ticket. Notice that I throw this harp right up the middle, like right up the middle. That shot is completely repeatable. I'm not feeling like I got too lucky anywhere, but on my mid-range shot, which did end up better, I want you to notice how much closer I get to the left tree. Yikes. Like I honestly, in order to air that disc out, I had to hang it to the left. Same thing with the driver. Underneath the arrow here, I'm showing you a freeze frame of where the putter went through that gap. The putter is located right underneath the arrow, glowing discs. Now for comparison, this is how close on the left my mid-range got to that tree. And then the next picture is how close my driver got to the tree. Yeah, in order for those discs to actually get there, I had to hang them that wide. Make sure that you learn to throw your putters because you're going to do so much good work in the woods when you can really learn to lean on and throw those putters. The man who throweth the putter well earneth the birdie often. Confucius. The fifth and final point is that control will always be better than distance. Does it feel good to step up here and bomb this disc 370, 380 feet down the hill? You bet. But if we're being honest, I was so nervous about this throw. Like, watch my face when I turn around. That is a man full of regret who's thinking, I don't know how I'm gonna get this par. Going to hole 1, notice my drive here with the driver round actually gave me a shot at a birdie, but I don't have my putter, so yikes. My drive with my putter was significantly farther back, so I have to throw an upshot here. And I'm going to throw that upshot, and guess what? I'm going to get a par. That's totally fine. My mid-range shot, closer than my putter, but also not as far as my driver. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw a putt. And I don't get it, so I take a par. And you know what I got here? I got a par. Just because I got closer doesn't mean that I changed anything. But having control the entire time means that some holes are going to be a lot better. Instead of throwing a big disc here, I think I'm going to throw a putter from now on. So the big takeaway, just because you can throw it far doesn't mean you need to. Control will always overcome distance. All right, y'all. Well, that wraps things up for this series, Restricted Disc Golf. If you haven't gone out and tried this challenge, this opportunity on your courses, I would highly suggest it. Start with putters, make your way up to distance drivers, and see what you learn about your bag as you try to work your way around courses that you know really well. I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope you learned a lot. If there are more series like this that you want to see, or like, hey, Robbie, it'd be cool if you experienced this, let me know in the comments below, and I'd be stoked to try out that video for you guys. Make sure you subscribe if you aren't already. Like this video, like the other videos if it was helpful to you at all. New content every single Thursday, but for now, I'm going to leave you with the birdie.